We are on a slow start this morning. I was really battling my inner sleepy self to to get out of bed, you know, take on the day. So I'm a little later getting out of the house than I would like to. Ideally, I'd be at the gym by now, put my stuff down and everything, but right now it's 4:33, so we get to the gym around 4:50. That'll give me like a good hour or so to lift, if I really stretch it. So that is plenty of time for me to throttle back. That is more than enough time. Honestly, I could probably get some rear delt in there too if I really push it. But we'll see. We shall see when we're in there. Man, I don't know if you could tell on the camera here, but I've got this like insane pimple right there, square in the middle of my face. It is rough. At work, I can see people making eye contact with it instead of me. I almost want to tell them, hey, my eyes are up here. But let's talk about the lift. Oh my God. Fuck it. There's nothing more terrifying than seeing a pair of eyes on the side of the road. Because I know these deer are suicidal. But for back today, I'm not really sure. I don't think I'm like really feeling barbell rows today. I don't know if I'm in the mood for that. And then you also got to keep in mind on mornings like this, when I'm under a bit of a time crunch, it's a little more difficult to persuade me into doing a lift that requires a lot of setup. Because for the barbell rows, I've got to adjust the squat rack, take the barbell off, and adjust the height of the, bar holders, and then load up one plate, in a warm up set, two plates, warm up set, throw a quarter on, another warm up feeler set. And I mean, by the time I've done all that, 15 minutes have passed, and that's not worth it to me. So what I think I'm gonna do, well, I know I'm gonna warm up with cable pullovers, some pull-ups, stretching everything out. Then after that, I think I would be pretty fine with cable rows. A bunch of cable rows, followed by a bunch of machine pullovers, followed by maybe a finisher set of cable pullovers. Because after doing the machine, you get a really good, like a bilateral squeeze. You kind of just really throttle everything in your lats. But then when you run over to the cable machine afterward to do single armed lat pullovers, like isolating that, it's freaky. It is actually freaky how insane the pump is. And then after that, if I have enough time, we can do some rear delt flies, the cable, dumbbell, whatever variety I feeling like doing. We'll just have to see when we get there. But I think that's a pretty good plan. But to be determined. We shall see what actually happens. I'll try to get some footage in. I feel like I've been depriving everybody of, good, like, lift thought, but we'll see what I can do. Uh, the gallon that I normally drink out of bursted not too long ago. Well, it did burst. It just has a leak on the bottom of it. So I got a new gallon, but I keep forgetting it at home. I have it set up right next to my little station where I have, the pre-workout, the protein powders, and all the supplements and what have you. And I put it right there so that it would look me in the eye when I'm about to go to the gym. And even still, I keep forgetting. I just kind of like glaze over, leave. So I just have to keep running over to the water fountain whenever I'm feeling a little parched. Not ideal, but that's feeling the tingles in my ears. So it's a good sign that the pre-workout is kicking in. I think today is what, day 6? Is it day 6 or day 7 of the 10-week challenge, quote unquote? Doing pretty good. Feeling pretty darn good. I've said this before, but I'm kind of trying to not worry too much about the number on the scale, because of course I'm eating at a deficit. I'm staying at that caloric deficit. I'm tracking my macros and everything. But with somebody with a more excessive body fat percentage, well, I don't know. I'm kind of like not lying, but I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. But the idea is that, like, just because the number on the scale isn't changing, it doesn't necessarily mean you're not losing fat over time. Since I started like posting it all on this YouTube, I've been like plateaued, at least like the number on the scale, I've been plateaued at around 220-ish. And while the number on the scale hasn't changed too much in that realm, I mean, there's from what I can tell, a pretty stark difference from from the first video up to now. I could tell a pretty, not drastic difference, but a difference enough to where I know that I'm doing something right. Um, so I'm just trying not to get too bummed out seeing that the number is still at 220 despite, you know, a difficult cutting process. Um, so just trying to keep my eyes on the horizon and, you know, just be proud of any of the changes that I can see because, you know, I've been staring at the number on the scale my entire life. It hasn't done anything good for me yet, but we'll get there. We will certainly get there, my friends. But speaking of getting there, I am almost at the gym here, so I'm gonna get inside, put my stuff down, warm up a little bit. Hopefully I can give you guys a couple working sets of, uh, you know, 3 sets of doodads and 3 sets of wom diggers. So, I will see you guys inside.
All right. That was a pretty fucking sick back day. We'll go over the details after I'm done here, but just a quick shirt on, pose down. I think this might be my favorite pose. It's the most flattering. Ugh. Oh, man. All right, one more. Cool. We'll review the footage later. But really good day today. Feeling pretty good. Feeling like a little leaner. I'm like the thing that I'm looking for the most is this stomach. Uh, and I can see a lot of difference because in the past, with this same pair of sweatpants, my stomach would like hang over the tie here. Now you can kind of see it's just like it's there. It's certainly trying to hang over, but it's just kind of there. So soon enough, it'll be completely gone, and then it'll be nice and flat. And who knows? Maybe someday we'll achieve the Toji Zane look. But I'll catch you guys in a bit.
Oh, you got a little bit of a gym action, and you got a pose down. I'd say that's everybody's eating pretty well today. I reviewed the footage of the pose down. Shit, that lat spread looked pretty fucking sick. Like, and that's with a shirt on. Just imagine what's going on underneath. That was crazy. So, very pleased with that. Had a really good lift today. But just to run you down with what was done, after warming up and everything, I started with the cable rows that you got to see a set of. So I did 2 sets of those, and then I moved on to we have this chest supported row machine. It's a stack loaded machine, one of the older like Nautilus ones. And some days it feels like pretty good, but most days it doesn't. So I did 1 set on that. Didn't feel awesome. So did that for 1 set, and then I moved on to dumbbell, like bent over rows. You want to call it that? Just leaning on the dumbbell rack, one arm at a time. And I did 1 set with the 90s, felt pretty good. And then I did 1 set with the hundreds, and I really just focused on the squeeze, or I'm sorry, the stretch down at the bottom. Felt pretty good. So I just did those 2 sets there, and then I did one really rough as in like push the fuck out of myself, uh, on the pullover machine that I always talk about and I never show. Man, I've got to get a clip done for that. Just so you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to put everybody on it. If your gym has one of these machines, do yourself a favor. Because holy shit. I swear, that thing is what makes or breaks a good back pump for me. But I did a set on that. Absolute failure without, like, ripping out my shoulder blades. Um, and then one set of cable pullovers just to really like focus on the squeeze after that pullover set. And that did it for me on back. And I actually had enough time to be able to do rear delts. So I did uh, reverse pec deck, rear delt flies, and then I would superset it with Smith machine shoulder shrugs. So I'm like standing in front of the bar, holding it behind me, and I'm just shrugging to get some trap activation. Uh, so yeah, I did like what 4 or 5 sets of that, and shit, that was crazy. The pump looked so fucking good. Like everything just looked very well rounded. I'm feeling very wide today, in a good way. Like my shoulders just feel very like broad. Uh, so hopefully I'm going to struggle to get through the turnstiles at work today. That's kind of the dream is that I'm too big in like a muscular way, not a fat way. Too big to fit through the turnstiles. So I have to use the side door. That's the goal. It'll be a long time before we get there, but yeah, really fucking good lift today. Uh, man, I always try to think of like a good topic to talk about before, you know, starting the post gym yap session. And then I always think of a point and then I forget it. So what the fuck am I gonna talk about? I don't want to beat a dead horse and talk about nonsense. All right, I thought about what to talk about. I genuinely stopped the recording just so I could sit there and ponder what to talk about. But on the last video, I'd mentioned that I'm going to be going to Micro Center, big computer parts store, uh, and I'll let you know what I end up getting. Well, uh, I gave myself a budget of like $300 just to spend on whatever. Um, I had no plans on buying anything specific. I just knew I was going to buy something. So, anyways, I went in and I ended up spending $616. Uh, so I bought, let me just run you through the mental thought process here. All right. You know, go in feeling really good, very excited. And, me and the wife are walking past the computer cases and I see this like mini PC build, like a mini tower. Uh, and it was like my favorite shade of green and it had wood accents. And I saw it and I thought to myself, man, like I wish I could have that. Like it is like that's a dream to have a tower like that. And I thought about it and I was like, well, why the fuck can't I? So I grab an employee and I'm like, hey man, like I've got a full size tower build. What will it take for me to like convert into this mini build? And he told me I would need to get a new power source, a new motherboard. I mean, yeah, just a new power source and a new motherboard. So I was like, fuck it. So I got that. We got the case. I got a B550i Aorus Pro motherboard. I'm rocking the same CPU that I have, a Ryzen 5 3600. Um, they had a 1 terabyte M2 chip SSD for sale. Like on sale. It was like $200 new. I got it for 60. I almost wish I bought two of those hoes, but got one of those. Got some more thermal paste, and then put it all together. And I actually didn't have too much of a problem with it. Like it didn't take me all day. It took me like half the day. The one thing that I'm like a little frustrated about is the wire management. Started off pretty good, but then it kind of devolved into hell because of all the power cables that went from the motherboard and GPU into the power source. So, I there wasn't much I could do in terms of trying to organize it. So ended up just having to like jam it all into the case. So it kind of looks rough, but uh, turning it on, connecting it, booting up the BIOS and everything, took a couple tries. I had to reorient some stuff, but shit, yeah, ended up working great. And now I've got a pretty clean build, sits on top of my desk. I don't have to worry about airflow or anything. It's pretty fucking great. But uh, I know it's not lifting related at all, but I'm very excited about it. It's just very cool to me. I love the case. Put it all together, uh, all by my lonesome. It was a bitch and a half to put together, though. You have to like disassemble everything. Ugh, holy shit, that was rough. But because of the lifting gains that I have, because of the strength that I've earned, I was able to unscrew all of those hard stuck bolts. So I was able to put it together. There you go. That's the tie-in. But not much left to talk about. I am gonna make it into work here in a little bit. I've got some breakfast with me, just a little like protein snack, and a protein drink. So I'm just gonna chow down on all of that, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for arms.